If you're like me and love to mix up flavors on your barbecue, or perhaps you're looking for a really fun dish to cook, try these scallion or spring onion pancakes. The dough only uses 2 ingredients, but there is a bit of technique, so let's go through this together, starting with the flour. What I really love about these pancakes is the layers that we're building in there. You've got a beautiful combination of textures, the chewy, layery, flaky inside, and then a nice crispy outside. Perfect to just tear straight into. So only 2 ingredients for this dough. The first one is some plain flour, and then the second is some hot water. The reason we're going in with hot water is what it does is it breaks down that gluten straight away. So that leaves you with a really stretchy dough that you can roll out super thin. It's a great way to start building up those layers. So now we have our scraggly mixture. Just pour that out, and then we're going to knead it for about 3 minutes, just until it comes together, and then we get a nice dough that bounces back. So we'll keep kneading just until it's really smooth. We can do the little test where you press it, and if it springs back, then you know it's ready. Just make sure we collect up all the rest of these little bits. All right, it's looking just about as smooth as I am. Let's do that press test. Look at that, bounce back, perfect. Now we're just going to wrap it in some plastic wrap and let it rest for about 30 minutes. That flour will keep absorbing the water, and we'll end up with the most perfect dough for these pancakes. While our dough's resting, we can get the rest of this dish together. I've got my spring onions here. I'm just going to chop these tail ends off. Now pop these into some water, and you'll be able to watch them grow for another spring onion dish later. Now, with these, there is a little bit of technique to slicing the spring onions. You don't want them too thin, but you also don't want them thick that they'll break up the pancake. So just take your time and get them probably a mil or 2 thick. Now we have our spring onion all nicely chopped. Just going to set it aside, but we're just going to leave a small portion, maybe about a tablespoon of the spring onion. I'll just run my knife through that again, and this will start off our dipping sauce. So our spring onion is done. I'm just going to assemble it straight into here. We have some mirin, and then going in with some soy sauce, garlic, and then some chili flakes, just for a little tickle of heat. And this actually doubles as a really delicious dumpling sauce. So make sure you save this recipe if you're cooking any dumplings. Then we can set that aside. That is all done. Now, on to preheating the barbecue. Today we're cooking on the all new Sky Blue BBQ, set up with a full hot plate. We're just going to preheat that on medium for 15 minutes. So our dough has rested. Just going to turn this out. Use a little vegetable oil on your board, on your hands. This makes it really easy work. We're not using flour, as that can sometimes dry out the dough. Just get this off and divide this into 8 portions. Cut it in half. Alrighty, we'll set that aside, and we'll start with one of the dough balls. Shape it into a ball, squash it down, and then we just want to roll it out into a rough circle. And I mean, you can be rough here, it's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. We just want to go as thin as possible. Okay, so that is rough as guts, but it's going to do perfect. What I'm now going to do is just baste it. This is just a mix of vegetable oil and a little sesame oil because I love that extra flavor. We're just going to lightly brush that on. And what they'll do is it will help to laminate that dough. So we just spread that in there, then we'll roll it up. So this is where that dough is amazing at going really thin, and you can build up loads of layers. Just going to roll that up. Okay, now that we have our log shape, we can roll it into a snail or cinnamon roll, and then just tuck that end underneath. Now we can squash that snail and then roll it out again. So I've seen some recipes just go straight into adding that spring onion and just doing that layering process once. But I love to do it twice because it just helps build up that flakiness. You also get a nice soft inside as well because you've got the extra oil in there. So we're just rolling it out again. This is looking a bit rounder and better than the first shot. So then what we'll do here is just spread it again with that basting mixture and then add the spring onion. Now you only need just a light basting of this oil. Don't go too heavy, otherwise it's going to make those rolling process too slippery. And now we can go on with our spring onion. Just sprinkle that on. And then we're just going to do that same roll up and snail process. Perfect. Roll up. Tuck that under. And then my next little tip is to introduce a piece of baking paper. So the baking paper makes it really handy for us to just simply roll this out and then get it straight onto the barbecue. You can choose your own destiny here. If you like a bit of a thicker pancake, don't roll it out as much, but I love a nice thin, crispy, flaky one, so I roll it out to about 20 centimeters in diameter. These are looking fantastic. I can smell that spring onion. Just going on with a final baste on that top side. And our barbecue's all preheated, ready to go. So this is how easy it is to get on there. All we need to do is slap it on. As soon as the pancakes have hit the hot plate, you can peel away that baking paper and then just close the lid and leave these to cook for about 60 to 90 seconds. You want to make sure that it has developed that beautiful, deep, dark, golden color before you flip them. Just before we flip them, we're going to go on with some of that extra basting mix, and now we can flip them over and then we can leave them for another 60 to 90 seconds. We'll just take these straight off and pop them onto a wire cooling rack. You don't want to put them onto a plate, otherwise they'll steam and sweat and go soggy. We want to maintain that beautiful crispy exterior. And these are all done and looking absolutely fantastic. That hot plate gave us really even, beautiful, consistent heat. So these look absolutely perfect. All that we need to do is add some salt, because everything tastes better with a little salt. But don't go too heavy, because there is that soy sauce inside our dipping sauce. Beautiful. Time to tear in. You could cut them, but I love just tearing straight in. Get it nice and gnarly. Create those cracks and crevices for our dipping sauce. Beautiful. That looks amazing. You have to try scallion pancakes on your barbecue. Yum. Perfect. Crunchy, flaky, that nice salt, spice, garlic deliciousness. I'm going to take these.